Hello everyone, my name is Poober. Welcome to episode 25 of our Factorio 0.15 playthrough. I've got a lot of big plans for this episode because we are finally going to be installing our second supply depot in this area here. So I just got done placing down our blueprint that we're going to be filling in for our second supply depot here. This was a design that I made in a test world and brought over to this map so that I wouldn't have to make it all by hand again. To import a blueprint, you just go to the Blueprint tab, or you can press B. And then if it's something that you've already added to your shared game blueprints, you can pull it up, usually in this section here. So this is what we're going to be filling in today, but before we get too far along with that, I wanted to show you guys what I've been able to get done since the last episode. So for starters, we were able to get more power with these new steam engines in the diagonal quadrants here. I put back our ammo production that is just going to be temporary in this section here. But I noticed that we are also lacking on our ore. So I'm now getting ore farming done from this little patch here. And then I added actually 3 more furnace sections for steel because our ammo was just eating it up like crazy. So we've got more steel production, we've got more iron production. Our copper is still doing okay. I've been able to rehook our stone ore line back up to the furnace section over here. And on top of that, I added our advanced oil processing. This has been able to get a little bit more plastic throughput and our red circuits so we can start focusing on more advanced research. And then the last thing I've done is to build up our defenses a little bit. I was able to kill off quite a few biter nests, and I tried to wall off some areas that I could. This section here, for instance, has a really thick forest, so I was able to use this as kind of a choke point here, but it's still getting attacked pretty regularly. We've got lots of turrets over here in our oil section, and then we were able to add a wall up here so that we don't have any more biters coming into the top right corner. We do still have a biter problem coming from the left side though, and there's no easy checkpoint or bottleneck that I can see apart from maybe this line here. So I will get to that later, but I really wanted to continue with our supply depot so that we can get more automation of important things we need, like our electric poles, which will finally have automated, turrets that will finally be automated, and things like that. So bear with me, we're going to be getting this installed, and I will see you once that's done. So here we are with it complete, and let me zoom out so you can see it fully. It was a lot more extensive than the previous supply depot I built, and it took a lot more time to get right. There were a few other things I had to change after it was all said and done, but it is now fully working, so let me give you the tour. It kind of starts over here at the very far left end with our copper wires that are made, and those kind of snake down and get fed into our circuit network type materials like our wires, our combinators, things like that. We even have the programmable speakers up here. And then we start with our gears that get fed into our engines, and eventually once we have our blue tech, we're going to be feeding the blue underground belt to the very end here with gears that will supply our locomotives and our cargo wagons here. So for now it's not working with these two machines because we don't have the gears that can fit all the way from this end to that end here. But for the most part, the rest of the factory works. We've even got electric engines here that can be built up over time with lubrication fed kind of from below here. Just up here we have our train signals, and then continuing down the line here we have more of our engine type materials. This engine box is solely to build up engines, and it looks like we are missing gear wheels as well from this end. Again, that will be fixed once we have the blue underground belt tech. Anyway, moving on, we do have automation of cars, which is great. We do not have automation of tanks though. That was a little too difficult to fit into here. And then moving on, we have our electrical poles that are now finally going to be automated. We've already got a full stack, I think, of these. We even have the substations here, and those are fed by the red circuits that come in from the main bus. You'll notice we have quite a few furnaces now, and that feeds our steel supply here. And our steel supply actually goes in a loop. So it goes in a full circle here. More towards the north end, we have our electric furnaces that are automated here, and then more train stuff, including the rails, the stick for it, and then we have our barrels here, and then the train stop here. And then just above that, we have our stone material type products. We have our landfill here, and then concrete, and then the hazard concrete there. And this one here is actually supposed to be stone walls, so let's put that in now. There we go. Actually, let's fix that. There we go, now it'll be working. And then our stone walls get fed onto this underground belt that kind of snakes below the green circuit line. And the green circuits and the stone walls kind of merge together and get fed along here, where we have the gates being made there. And then eventually we have just a box that is getting fed the stone walls for our supply. Next, we have pipes that are going to be fed into the flamethrower turrets. Will be this one here. We don't have that tech quite yet, which is why it's not yet labeled with a recipe. But then we have regular turrets right there, and then even the radar machines there, and then the laser turrets here as well. The only thing we're going to be having fed by robots in this supply depot will be batteries. And that's why we're going to have a requester chest right here that will feed batteries into our laser turret and the flamethrower turret here. We have our water coming in from the convenient water source over here that feeds our concrete that we're going to be having. We are actually going to be having iron ore as well brought by robot. I did forget that. So that's why the concrete won't be working until then. But that kind of sums up this supply depot here. It has pretty much everything that I could think to need automated for the most part, at least in our current tech. So while I was building this, I did do a lot more research to be able to fill in the recipes and get a lot done. And that means we can now continue to fill in the recipes here and get more automation with our first supply depot. It does look like we are having a coal crisis though. And another biter crisis. It seems like in the time it took me to build all that stuff, we've got more biters popping up. So let's go address that problem real quick here. And I don't have any ammo on me, so I better grab some. It seems like as soon as we got done with building that, we went into a crisis mode again, where we've got no coal, and we've got, again, a surplus of biters, so we're going to have to do some more problem solving. Let's fix this guy up too on our way. Oh man. What did they destroy? Okay, that's still working. They destroyed some turrets over here. I'm just trying to make this more secure actually while we go address this. It's a little bit better. So it looks like they've spawned kind of in this section here, right there, and even with me putting up this wall here, it looks like they've kind of come in from the top left and expanded into this section here, which really sucks. I had just gotten all of those cleared out. So we'll have to get some more combat type things automated here pretty soon. We do have electric engines now, so I could build a tank and start working on some ammo for the tank possibly. That is an option. I definitely don't want to do the, creeping type leapfrog to keep killing the nests anymore. That's getting a little bit old. And looks like we're just kind of running out of coal in general, so we'll have to get another outpost somewhere. Let's see, where would be... We can't use that, can't use these. So it looks like this is probably our best option for our coal right now. And whereas I don't have trains up and running yet, we'll just have to bus it basically via belt all the way up to the top. So I better get on that, or else we're going to start having a major power problem. Looks like we're already having a power problem. Let me just try and buy us some time, see if we have any coal here or anything burnable. Got solid fuel we can use. Oh, let's use the trees. Yeah, we're gonna use the trees instead, or the wood. We don't have a purpose for it right now, so we might as well use it. So we're just going to feed this by hand just to buy us some time. And I do have some miners on me. And I have enough belt, it looks like, so we'll head down to that coal patch and start putting some miners on it. So here we are at the coal patch. I'll have to clear out some trees to get it established to fit the miners on it. And I should have grabbed a stack of my fancy new electric poles that we have automated now, but I did not think to do that. But I think we're getting pretty close to being able to use robots finally, which will be such a huge quality of life improvement. We might do that next episode, actually. I already have a blueprint in mind for how we're going to be designing it. And it should be able to really advance us into the late game pretty nicely. So let's grab our miners. We just need a couple for now. Oh, and we can power from here. That's nice. And here we go with our long bus that we're going to be having all the way up to the top. So I will see you guys again once I get up there. And here we made it all the way up to the top. So we're going to start divvying this up between the two sides that need it. Oh, and looks like we were a little too late. We are now officially out of power. Well, let's go see if we can burn anything else by hand. We'll put it in manually. But then our coal farming down below should be able to get us back on our feet. So we've got our coal problem under control now that we have been farming this new coal patch here, and that will last us a decent while now, and it goes all the way up to the top and snakes around, getting into our furnaces and then back onto our main bus. So the last thing I want to do before we call it an episode is to get our red circuits hooked up all the way up at the top for our first supply depot. So we've already got this line ready to go. We're just going to keep extending it upwards. And this was something I could have done a while ago. I had just forgotten that we still needed to do it. Oh, and looks like we're getting attacked at our iron farming area, but our turret should be able to handle it. Okay. There we go. Let me repair this real quick before I forget. So we need to get our red circuits over here. So let's actually think about feeding it under. We'll do something like this for now, maybe. Okay, and then we just need to get it right there. Whoop, Don't want to mix it with the coal. And we'll just loop it underneath just like that. Perfect, we finally have red circuits for our first supply depot up here at the top. Let's make sure it gets routed to everywhere it needs to go. Which it looks like it is. And then we can finally start making modules. I think, let's see, which ones do the yellow assembly machines take? Those take speed 1s. So we'll do these here. And then inserter to get over here into our assembly machine to make the assembly 3s. So we can start upgrading to the assembly 3s in the near future for our bigger builds that will need them, and then eventually we may want to increase the automation of these with a better design in the future. This is just something that's supposed to be built over time, so it will take quite a while to be built. So the next thing I want to research will be the Logistics 3, and this will give us that coveted blue belt tech that I have really been wanting. So let's start getting that researched, but I think for there we will call it an episode, and hopefully by the next time I see you guys we'll have the Logistics 3 researched and we'll be able to move on with robots after that. Thank you for joining me with episode 25 then, and can't wait to see you for the next one.